Sacramento, California is experiencing a growth surge unlike anything we've seen in decades, but here's what most people don't know. The biggest growth in 2026 isn't happening where you think it is. It's actually exploding in 8 under-the-radar suburbs outside of Sacramento that are dropping massive new developments, brand new schools, incredible parks and trails, and some of the most family-friendly communities we've ever seen. And here's the crazy part. Home prices in these areas are still reasonable compared to what you might even pay in the Bay Area or some of the more established neighborhoods in the Sacramento region. In fact, the last suburb that I'm going to talk about today has me seriously reconsidering my own housing decision. So if you're thinking about moving to the Sacramento region, or you're already here and you're considering a move within the region, you absolutely need to know about these 8 suburbs before anybody else catches on. And I'm telling you right now, once interest rates stabilize and more people discover these areas, the window of opportunity is going to close fast. So in today's video, we're diving deep into 8 Sacramento suburbs that are absolutely going to explode in 2026. And I'm going to tell you exactly what makes each one of them special, what the communities are like, and why you need to have them on your radar. Now let's kick this off with the suburb that's becoming one of the fastest growing cities, not just in the Sacramento region, but the entire state of California. And that's going to be Elk Grove. Now I know what some of you are thinking about. Elk Grove isn't exactly a secret, and you're right, it's been growing for years, but here's what most people moving to the Sacramento region don't realize. Elk Grove is absolutely massive, and there are pockets of the city that are brand new, under development, and offer some of the best value in the entire Sacramento region. And what I absolutely love about Elk Grove is that it's really its own city with its own identity. You're not really just a Sacramento suburb anymore. You've got your own downtown area, you've got Old Town Elk Grove, which still has that charming small town California feel with local shops and restaurants. You've got the Elk Grove Regional Park, which is one of the coolest community amenities I think I've ever seen. We're talking about a man-made lagoon right in the middle of this master plan park. But let me tell you about some of the specific areas in Elk Grove that I think are going to be massive growth in 2026 and beyond. First up is going to be the southeast section of Elk Grove, particularly around the Sky River Casino. And this area is going to be brand new. And when I say new, I mean they are still developing major sections of it. You've got communities like Arbor Ranch and Madera Greens. You've got builders out there like Taylor Morrison, New Home Co., Lennar, KB, Beezer, and they are bringing in thousands of new homes. And these aren't just your cookie cutter tract homes. These are modern, well-designed communities with actual thought put into the amenities. Now, what really stands out to me about this area is the emphasis on walkability and community. You've got multiple parks, walking trails that connect throughout the entire neighborhood, and they're building out retail and shopping that are within bikeable distance. I know just a few weeks ago, we had some clients that were looking at the 55 and up community out in Elk Grove in that Madera Ranch section, and they were looking at some of the shopping that you could bike to. You could bike to Costco from this section, you could bike to Trader Joe's from this section. Super walkable, super family friendly, and super easy to get to via bike or even via walking. Now, the nice thing is because these are newer developments, you are getting energy efficiency homes with modern floor plans and smart home technology as standard features. Now, another area of Elk Grove that I super love is going to be the Laguna West area in West Elk Grove along the I-5 corridor. Now, this is going to put you in incredibly close proximity to Interstate 5, which means you've got easy access to downtown Sacramento for work, or you can shoot down to the Bay Area if you need to. And the schools in this area are consistently rated among some of the best in the entire region, and that's a huge draw for families here. Now, here's what I really appreciate about Elk Grove overall. It's diverse, it's got great schools, it's got a strong sense of community, and you're still getting relatively good value compared to a lot of the other Sacramento suburbs. It's a place where you can really plant roots and build a life. The Elk Grove Unified School District serves the entire area, and it's one of the largest school districts in Northern California. They've been building new schools to keep up with the growth, which is exactly what you want to see. And speaking of growth, Elk Grove has been adding some major employers and retail. So you've got the Outlet Collection at Elk Grove, which is a massive shopping destination, and they continue to attract different businesses and restaurants. Now, one thing I want to mention, and that is important for anybody considering Elk Grove, traffic can be a pain in the butt during peak commuting times, especially on Highway 99 and some of the main arteries in and through Elk Grove, but the city has been working on improving that infrastructure, and honestly, compared to what you deal with in the Bay Area, it's still very manageable. A lot of you guys coming from Southern California or the Bay Area laugh about our traffic or the traffic that we complain in. Now, employers are still setting up shop in Elk Grove, and more people are finding that they can work close to home. Now, if it were me and I was looking to move to Elk Grove right now, I'd be focusing a lot of my attention on some of those newer developments in the southeast section of Elk Grove over by Sky River Casino. And I'd be keeping an eye on any new projects that are going to be announced in 2026 that we're going to drop right here on this channel, because the value proposition is still strong and Sacramento continues to grow, and Elk Grove is going to be one of the leading cities in that major charge. Now, before we get into suburb number 2, if this is your first time on the channel, we're Lance and Lauren with the Living in Sacramento team, where we make videos exactly what it's like living and moving to the Sacramento area. Just like many of you are thinking about doing or have recently done, we created this channel because we were frustrated by some of the lack of honest information about what it's really like living and moving in the Sacramento area. So if that's you, or if you're thinking about making the move here, that phone number is going to be up on the screen, down in the description, and pinned in the chat. Let's talk about suburb number 2, and this one is near and dear to my heart, and that's going to be Folsom, California. Folsom has been one of the most desirable areas that you guys have reached out to us about on the channel time and time again. So this one might not seem like a hidden gem, but here's what's happening in Folsom right now that makes 2026 such a critical year. The development of Folsom Ranch and the surrounding areas is entering its prime time phase, and there are opportunities here that won't last. Folsom sits east of Sacramento. It's going to be nestled up against the foothills and just at the base of El Dorado Hills, and it offers something that most Sacramento suburbs just can't compete with, which is the natural beauty and the outdoor recreation and that small town feel while being close to everything that you need. You've got everything you need here. You've got Folsom Lake to the north, which is an absolute paradise for anybody who loves boating, fishing, hiking, or just being outdoors. You've got the American River Bike Trail that runs right through Folsom, giving you miles and miles of scenic trails for biking, running, and walking. But let's talk just a little bit about what's making Folsom explode right now. Folsom Ranch is a master plan community that's been in development for 5+ years, and it's finally starting to hit its stride. We're talking about thousands of acres of thoughtfully planned neighborhoods with every amenity you could possibly imagine. When you drive into Folsom Ranch, you immediately notice the attention to detail. The landscaping, the parks, the community centers, the parkway, a bunch of beautiful nature that's going to be growing for years to come. And it's clear that it just wasn't thrown together to make a quick buck. Now, while some of the builders out here are winding down, there are definitely future plans for the 3rd and 4th quarter of 2026 that are going to make Folsom Ranch a hotspot. Now, one of the things that really impresses me about Folsom Ranch is the commitment to creating some community spaces. So they've got multiple parks throughout the entire development, not just like little token playgrounds, but you've got real gathering spaces. Prospector Park is awesome. You've got lighted soccer fields, you've got softball fields. It's just on the back of Mangini Elementary. They've got zip lines. It's a super cool place where you can go and you can have barbecues on the weekends. You can hang out with your families, but super nice and really thoughtfully designed. Now, in the original part of Folsom, you're going to have aquatic centers over off of Lemby, pools, splash pads for the kids, areas for community events. They've got sports fields all throughout the city of Folsom, basketball courts, and they're building out the trail system that will connect the entire community. And here's something that's a big deal for Folsom, and that's going to be schools. Folsom Ranch has been working closely with Folsom Cordova Unified to build out the brand new state-of-the-art high school, middle school. You've already got 2 elementaries with a 3rd one on the way. Now that means that your kids aren't getting bused across town. They're going to be walking into beautiful, modern design schools that are going to be right in your neighborhood. Now, beyond some of the parts of Folsom Ranch and some of the established neighborhoods in Folsom, you're also going to have a historic downtown Folsom area, which is absolutely charming this time of year. You've got Sutter Street with local boutique coffee shops and restaurants and, you know, different things, bars. It's definitely got that small town genuine feel, and you're right there off of Lake Natoma. You've got that California vibe. They have farmers markets down there in the summertime, pretty much all throughout the year. Community events, parades, you've got the Folsom Pro Rodeo. You have tons of things that make Folsom a community center spot, and it's probably one of the reasons why you guys like Folsom so much on this channel. It's definitely the kind of place where you can get to know your neighbors and feel connected. Now, the employment situation in Folsom is also really strong. You've got tons of major employers like Intel, Micron Technologies, Safe Credit Union's got a call center there. Now, one thing that I do want to mention about Folsom, and I want to be completely honest and transparent on this channel, is Folsom does tend to be a little bit pricier than some of the other suburbs that we're going to be talking about today. But here's the thing, you're definitely getting what you pay for here. You're getting top rated schools, you're getting safety, you're getting those outdoor amenities, and you're getting a quality of life that's hard to beat. The weather in Folsom is also slightly better. I wouldn't say the weather is massively different, but it is slightly better than it is in Sacramento proper, and you're getting a little bit higher elevation. A bit more of that breeze, and in the summertime it can definitely be a few degrees cooler when it's 105 degrees in Sacramento. Maybe you're only talking about 100 to 101. Now, if it were me and I was considering looking in Folsom right now, I'd consider looking at Folsom Ranch. This is where all the new construction and the bigger master plan communities are going to be happening, and I'd be looking at some of those established neighborhoods where you can get in and you can be close in proximity to everything that Folsom has to offer. Now, suburb number 3 on our list is going to be Roseville, and this one I get asked about constantly. Roseville has been one of the most popular suburbs in the Sacramento region for years, but what's happening in 2026 is going to take it to a whole nother level. Now, Roseville is going to sit northeast of Sacramento, and it's basically become its own major city for everything that you can possibly need. So let me talk about what makes Roseville so appealing first. Now, first and foremost, you've got tons of shopping. You've got the Westfield Galleria Mall in Roseville, which is one of the most premier shopping destinations in all of Northern California. We're not just talking about a mall. This is a massive retail hub for all of Northern California. You've got great restaurants, you've got 4 different movie theaters, and it's constantly being updated and improved. But beyond the Galleria Mall, Roseville has developed a ton of the shopping centers and just things to do for family and friends. You've got Topgolf, you've got Golfland Sunsplash, you've got 5 different golf courses within the city limits. And the cool thing is you're never more than 5 minutes away from groceries, Target, Home Depot, restaurants, whatever you need, Roseville has it. Now, the school situation in Roseville is also excellent. You've got Roseville Joint Unified School District, which has 4 different high schools, and it's got another high school that's over in Granite Bay, and it consistently produces strong academic results. You've got newer schools that have been built out in West Roseville to accommodate all the growth, and you've got community that really values education. Now, Roseville High School, Oakmont, Wood Creek, West Park High School, these are all solid schools depending on where you want to live in the city of Roseville with good reputations. But let's talk about some of the specific areas that I think are positioned for major growth in 2026. And first and foremost is going to be out in West Roseville. Now, these are going to be some of the newest master plan communities in all of Roseville. And then they definitely offer that newer construction feel, modern amenities, and you've got tons of things that are going to be super close by. Now, the thing I love about West Roseville with all the new growth and all the master plan communities that we have out there, it's already started to catch up. And so you're starting to see some of the major shopping centers that are going to be along Fittymint. So you have Fittymint and Blue Oaks, which is going to have a brand new Raley's One Market, a couple of different grocery stores, gas stations down there. You're also going to have a Safeway at the corner of Pleasant Grove in Fittymint. And then at the bottom of Fittymint, at baseline, you're going to have brand new Costco, you're going to have a Home Depot, a Target out there, and another In-N-Out Burger in West Roseville. I know I would have loved that when we lived out in West Roseville. The other cool thing about Roseville is you have tons of mega parks, mini parks, pools, recreation centers, and they've all been thoughtful about creating walkable trails throughout all of Roseville to keep the community connected. Now, if you're not really wanting new construction, but you still want a little bit more of that established feel, you also have Central Roseville, which is going to be a part of the city that's going to be primarily around some of the major event centers, the mall, the Galleria, the fountains, all that stuff. Or you can go even a little bit further over to East Roseville, which is going to be everything east of Interstate 80. And that's going to be the stuff that's going to be closest to Granite Bay. It's going to be closest to Folsom Lake. And in my opinion, it's one of the more centrally located spots in all of Sacramento, where if you're not really sure about where you need to commute to, or you're not really sure about what your job may be when you get here, it's going to be a nice central location, and you're going to be about 15 to 25 minutes in all 360-degree directions. If you got to go north into Lincoln, if you got to go east into Auburn, south into Folsom, west into Sacramento, or heck, even if you've got to make several travel trips to the Sacramento International Airport, it's a nice central location, and you can be in a lot of different directions very fast. Now, one thing that really sets Roseville apart is going to be its emphasis on parks and recreation. Now, Roseville has consistently invested in its park systems, and you've got everything from little small neighborhood parks to the Maidu and Mahaney regional parks, which has sports fields, trails, museums, playgrounds. Heck, you even got a 30-field soccer complex that's going to be all the way out in West Roseville. You've got the Roseville Aquatics Complex, which is awesome for families. You've got 5 different golf courses throughout the entire city, and employment-wise, Roseville is strong. So you've got tons of major healthcare facilities like Sutter Roseville and Kaiser Permanente in East Roseville. You've got numerous corporate headquarters, business parks, all with companies who are trying to relocate to the Sacramento region. Now, one thing to consider with Roseville is that it's been so popular for so long. Competition for homes can be fierce, especially in the more desirable neighborhoods, but here's what I'm seeing in 2026, because there are still opportunities, particularly in some of the newer developments where we're seeing some discounts, interest rate incentives, deals that can be had, especially on some of those newer construction areas in the West Roseville area. All right, quick pause here. If you're finding this information valuable and you want to make sure that you're getting the absolute best advice for your move to Sacramento, we cannot stress this enough. Reach out to us. We do this every single day, and we're not just throwing information at you hoping that it sticks. We're actually helping people navigate moving and relocating to the greater Sacramento metro. So that phone number will be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love when you guys reach out to us on the channel. So if you don't want to do that, there's also going to be a QR code where you can book a call directly with us, or you can download our real estate app, which will also be down in the chat. We're actually helping people navigate this market, find homes before they hit the market, negotiate better deals, and avoid costly mistakes. Now, suburb number 4 on the list is going to be Rocklin. Now, this one has really been flying under the radar for a long time for a lot of people. But the thing is it absolutely shouldn't be. Rocklin sits just northeast on the other side of Highway 65 from Roseville, and it offers something that's really special. You kind of get that foothill location with beautiful scenery, slightly cooler climate, but you're still close to all of the amenities that Roseville has to offer, all the employment centers. So one of the things that I absolutely love about Rocklin, first, it's got this perfect blend of established neighborhoods and some brand new developments. You've got areas like Whitney Oaks, you've got Whitney Ranch. They've been around for a long time, but they still have a little bit more of that mature, established feel. Then you've got some really nice areas like Clover Valley and even the Sunset Whitney area that has a little bit more of the established feel, larger lots, and kind of more estate-like properties. Now, the school situation in Rocklin is absolutely outstanding. I would say it's one of our top 5 school districts in the entire Sacramento region, but you're going to have Rocklin Unified School District here, which is consistently rated one of the top districts in the entire Sacramento region. Rocklin High School, Whitney High School, both have stellar reputations, and parents specifically move into Rocklin so they can get their kids into either of these 2 high schools. Now, one of the areas that I want to touch on is going to be Whitney Ranch, because this is one of the premier master plan communities, not just in Rocklin, but the entire Sacramento region. Now, Whitney Ranch has been in development for years, and it just keeps getting better. You've got multiple neighborhoods within Whitney Ranch, and each have their own little character and community and price points. Now, right now, 2 of the major builders that are going to be out in Whitney Ranch, you're going to have some KB homes out there. You're also going to have JMC, which has been a consistent staple out in Whitney Ranch. And then you're also going to have Anthem Properties, which is going to have the final lot or the final development that's being developed out there, which is called Finale. Now, all 3 of these builders are quality builders, and they all have different price points, ranging as low as the high 500s, low 600s, and going easily into the low $1 million price point. But the cool thing about Whitney Ranch, and one of the things that I absolutely love about Whitney Ranch that we don't see too often in a lot of these areas, is it has its own community clubhouse and community pool. Now, a lot of you guys reach out to us from the channel looking for some of that community feel or that community vibe where you can meet your neighbors, you can go on Easter egg hunts, have a great kind of established neighborhood that has solid trick-or-treating in the Halloween times. But Whitney Ranch is one of those communities that definitely has all of that. Now, one of the other neighborhoods that I absolutely love in Rocklin is going to be Whitney Oaks, specifically around the Whitney Oaks Golf Club, which is an absolutely beautiful course. It's ranked among one of the best courses in the entire Sacramento area. Now, the cool thing about Rocklin is you've got splash pads, you've got parks, you've got pools, you've got community event centers. You've got a real sense of community that's hard to find anywhere else in Sacramento. Now, you do have some major employers in Rocklin like Sierra College, which is an excellent community college. You've also got healthcare facilities, you've got tech companies, you've got Oracle, who's also located in Rocklin, and you're close enough to both Sacramento and Roseville for any kind of commuting or any other job opportunities that come up. With more and more companies embracing remote and hybrid work, Rocklin has become a more attractive option because you can still get a decent house for your money while still being close enough to major employment centers when you need to be, or the outdoor recreational opportunities that Rocklin also has. Now, one consideration with Rocklin is that it does tend to be a little bit more pricier than some of the other suburbs that we've talked about on this list as well. But again, you're definitely getting what you pay for. Top schools, beautiful settings, excellent amenities, and a really high quality of life. And compared to what you pay for in the Bay Area or Southern California, that for that same quality of life, it's still an incredible value. Now, if I were looking in Rocklin right now, I probably would be considering Whitney Ranch over everything else. You get that master plan community lifestyle, you get the clubhouse, you get the pool, but I'd also be looking at both the newer developments as well as some of the existing homes that have been built in the last 10 to 15 years in Whitney Ranch. All right, suburb number 5 on my list is actually going to surprise a lot of people, and that's going to be Lincoln, California. California. Now, Lincoln is a bit farther out. It's going to be about 30 miles northeast of downtown Sacramento, but hear me out when I'm telling you about Lincoln, California, because Lincoln is one of those ones that you don't want to sleep on. It's absolutely remarkable, and the value proposition is off the charts. Lincoln has traditionally had that small town country kind of vibe, out in the middle of nowhere type of feel, but over the past decade, Lincoln has been one of the fastest growing cities in all of California, and it's been intentional and thoughtful. This isn't one of those cities where developers are just throwing up houses as fast as they can. The city of Lincoln has really tried to maintain that small town character feel while building out some of the modern infrastructures and amenities. So let me tell you, I've lived here from 2007 to 2017, and there has been a lot of change and a lot of growth, but there have been a lot of different subsections and master plan communities in Lincoln that have really excited me. The first one on my list, and we just featured one of these houses not too long ago, is going to be Liberty out in Lincoln, which is going to be the newest master plan community out in Lincoln. Right now, currently, they have 3 different builders, one by Woodside, one by Meritage, and one by Richmond American, which we just featured in that video last week. They are also going to have a clubhouse here with some amenities, pool, pickleball courts, gym facility, all of the nice things. Now, the other master plan community that you have in Lincoln is also going to be Lincoln Crossing. Now, Lincoln Crossing is going to consist of a little over 3,000 homes, and it was built in the early 2000s. They are also going to have a massive club center recreation, similar to what we talked about in Whitney Ranch, and a little bit bigger than what you're going to see over at Liberty. But the other cool thing that I really like about Lincoln is you also have some of these other subsections of these pockets. So you're going to have everything that's going to be towards the front of Lincoln, which is going to be kind of 12 Bridges. You're going to have the new high school, a newer middle school, newer elementary school that's going to be on that front side of Lincoln, 12 Bridges. You're also seeing a ton of master plan developments that are going to be coming in there, different builders by LGI, KB Homes, and Century Communities out there. Lincoln also has 2 active adult communities. You're going to have the original active adult community, which is going to be Sun City by Del Webb. That community was built in the early 2000s. And then you also have a brand new master plan community that's also going to be 55 and better. That's going to be Taylor Morrison's Esplanade product up at Turkey Creek. And then finally, you're also going to have a private guard gated community called Verdera up at the top of kind of the 12 Bridges, kind of behind Sun City. And those are going to be some of the luxury, more estate-like properties. Now, as we shift a little bit further north, you're going to have some of the original Lincoln town that's going to be kind of built around Lincoln Boulevard, or the original Highway 65. And then once you get past the city of Lincoln and you can start getting into more of the unincorporated parts of Lincoln, you're going to have tons of beautiful ranch properties, acreage properties that are going to be between the city of Lincoln and Camp Far West Lake. So you really have every type of style and home that you would want to have in Lincoln, and they're starting to play catch up with a lot of the different amenities. So one of the things that I absolutely love about Lincoln is that you have a lot of golf courses out there. You have 2 premier golf courses at Sun City Lincoln. You've got Turkey Creek, which is going to be off of Highway 195. And then there is a private country club that's going to be at Verdera called Catavadera Country Club. And that's going to be a private membership only golf course that you can play there. Now, the cool thing about Lincoln is you're going to have multiple neighborhood parks, trails that are all going to connect throughout the community. They're going to host regular community events all throughout the year. One of our favorite places to go watch 4th of July fireworks is going to be up at Lincoln at McBean Park. Now, here's one of the things that makes Lincoln so interesting from all of a value perspective in comparison to some of the other suburbs. You're definitely getting significantly more house for your money compared to places like Roseville, Folsom, Rocklin, or even places like Elk Grove. Now, we're talking about the difference between a 2,500 square foot home in Roseville versus a 3,500 square foot home for Lincoln in the same price range. So you're definitely getting a little bit larger lots, you're getting a little bit more space, and you're getting into some of these beautiful master plan communities at a price point that actually makes a lot of sense for a lot of families. Now, I know some of you are thinking Lincoln is definitely pretty far out there, so what about the commute? And yes, if you've got to commute to downtown Sacramento every single day, you're probably looking at something between 45 to 60 minutes depending on traffic and depending on the bottleneck on Highway 65. But here's what I'm seeing. More and more employers are embracing that hybrid, flexible, remote working arrangement. So if it were me and I was having the ability to work remote, I probably would choose Lincoln over a lot of places, because outside of having to commute to Roseville or outside of having to commute to downtown Sacramento, Lincoln's pretty much got everything that you need. So if you're only going into the office 2 or 3 days a week, and for those days when you do need to commute down to Sacramento, Highway 65 to 80 does give you a pretty straight shot into Roseville or even downtown Sacramento. All right, guys, we're getting close to the end here, but before we get to the last 3 suburbs, I need you to do something for me, guys. If you've made it this far in the video and you're finding this information helpful, hit that like and subscribe button. Go ahead and comment down below. Let me know which suburb is a suburb that you've already got on your radar, because it really does help us figure out which videos you want to see more of. All right, suburb number 6 is actually an area within Sacramento proper, but it definitely deserves its own spot on the list, and that's going to be Natomas, specifically the north side above Interstate 80. Now, this one might seem like an odd choice because Natomas is technically a part of the city of Sacramento, but what's happening in Natomas right now is significant enough that it absolutely deserves to be on your radar right now. So Natomas sits just north of downtown Sacramento, probably about 15 to 20 minutes, and it's been growing steadily for the past couple of decades. But here is exactly what's making 2026 such a pivotal year for Natomas. So you've got massive infrastructure improvements, you've got newer developments, and retail focus on creating complete livable communities rather than just these little subdivisions that are going to be north of Sacramento. So let me break down what I absolutely love about Natomas. First is going to be the location. You're actually pretty close to everything. You're about 10 to 15 minutes from downtown Sacramento. You're super close to the Sacramento International Airport. In fact, some parts of Natomas are just 5 minutes from the airport, which is incredible if you've got to travel for work. Now, the master plan communities in Natomas are actually really well done. You've got North Natomas, which features tons of neighborhoods. You've got Natomas Park, Natomas Crossing, and we're actually starting to see a lot of builders come back to the Natomas region. So you've got builders like Meritage, TriPoint, and several others that are going to be building in the North Natomas area coming into 2026. Now, one thing that has really improved in Natomas over the past few years is going to be the retail and kind of entertainment options. So you've got the Natomas Marketplace, you've got a lot of different things that have just been built. You've got a brand new Costco that's been built right off of kind of Interstate 5 right there. You've got a new Topgolf that's going in, and you've pretty much got every store that you could need. Target, Home Depot, grocery stores, restaurants, you name it, you've got it. Now, if you don't have it there, you're definitely not that far away from downtown Sacramento for a Kings game or going down to some other different variety type of restaurants, but you are going to be close to Golden One Center, which is going to host concerts and different events. Now, again, like I said earlier in this section, what's really exciting about Natomas for 2026 is there are several major developments that are either underway or planned to go in that are going to be transforming parts of North Natomas. Now, we're talking about thousands of new homes, new schools, new parks, new retail centers. The city and the developers are really trying to create a complete community where people can live, work, and play without having to drive all over the place. So another thing that I did want to mention about Natomas is going to be the diversity here. So this is one of the most diverse areas in the entire Sacramento region. There's something that really appeals to a lot of people. So you've got incredible ethnic restaurants, you've got cultural events, you've got a sense of community. They all embrace different backgrounds and different perspectives. So the value proposition in Natomas is strong. You're getting more affordable housing compared to Folsom or Roseville, but you're actually closer to things like downtown Sacramento and major employment centers. So if you work downtown or at one of the state government buildings, Natomas could easily cut your commute significantly compared to living in Elk Grove, Rocklin, or even Folsom. Now, I do want to be honest about some of the considerations with Natomas. Parts of Natomas on the west side of Interstate 5 are going to potentially be in flood zones because it's a location that's near the Sacramento River. The levee system has been significantly upgraded over the years, but it could still be a risk. And it's definitely something that you need to be aware of or factor into your decision-making process. Now, traffic can also be a consideration in Natomas, particularly on some of the major roadways throughout the city, but the city has also been working on improvements on that as well too. So honestly, it's still much more manageable than you would experience in most other metropolitan cities. But what has really excited me about Natomas for 2026 is its trajectory. This is an area that has been massively undervalued for years, but as more and more people discover the locational benefits, the value proposition here, I think that we're going to see is increased demand and appreciation that can be a continued investment. All right, so we've made it to suburb number 7, and this one has honestly had me making second guessing about where I'm currently living right now, and that's going to be El Dorado Hills. El Dorado Hills has been desirable for a long time, and some of you might be thinking this isn't exactly a hidden gem, but hear me out real quick, because what's happening in El Dorado Hills right now, particularly with a lot of the newer developments and the lifestyle offers, makes it absolutely essential to include it on this list right now. So El Dorado Hills is going to sit just east of Sacramento, just a little bit past Folsom, up in the foothills, and it's going to be your first city in El Dorado County. Now, the cool thing that I love about El Dorado Hills is it's absolutely stunning here. Now, we're talking about rolling hills, massive oaks, oak trees, beautiful views, and a lifestyle that feels like you're living a little bit more in the mountains than you are in the suburbs. Now the elevation here gives you slightly cooler temperatures in the summertime, which has a huge bonus during the hot summer months. Now the first thing that I love about El Dorado Hills is going to be the natural beauty, and that's going to be off the charts. You're just minutes away from hiking and biking trails. You've got Folsom Lake boating, fishing, water sports. You've got numerous parks, open spaces. And if you're somebody who values the outdoor recreation and natural beauty, El Dorado Hills is going to feel like paradise. Now, El Dorado Hills is going to have a mix of different communities, from Blackstone to Serrano to the village out by the lake. So each one of these communities are going to have their own feel, their own desirability, but we are starting to see some major developments that are going to be starting to be built kind of in that East Village section up behind Blackstone. So the cool thing about El Dorado Hills is you still have that genuine small town California vibe that so many people that are moving here are looking for. You've got a premier master plan community in Serrano and Blackstone. You've actually got two different sections of Serrano. You've got Serrano North, which is going to be the guard gated community surrounded by the golf course, and you're going to have Serrano South, which is going to be really everything that's also going to be in a gated part of the community. It's just not going to be guard gated. Now the school situation in El Dorado Hills is going to be some of the things that people really desire, especially if you're kind of considering Folsom. El Dorado Hills could be also an additional consideration, but you're going to have the Buckeye Union Elementary School District and the El Dorado Union High School District serving the area. You're going to have high schools like Oak Ridge and Rolling Hills Middle School, which are both going to be highly rated, and families move specifically to El Dorado Hills for the quality of the education. So the community here really values the education, and it definitely shows in the resources and the support that the school receives. Now, one thing I absolutely love about El Dorado Hills is its sense of community. Despite the growth over the years, it has definitely maintained that small town feel where people still feel like they know their neighbors, their kids play together, and there's still a real connection among a lot of the residents. So the community is very active. You've got tons of youth sport leagues. Everybody rallies around the high school, around the football team. You've got running clubs, mountain biking groups, and all sorts of ways where you can get involved, get active, and meet new people. Now, El Dorado Hills is going to be about a 35 to 45 minute drive from downtown Sacramento via Highway 50. So depending on exactly where you are in El Dorado Hills, traffic conditions, those can all play a factor into whether or not this makes sense to you for a popular community. For a lot of people, it's an acceptable trade-off for the lifestyle and quality of life, but keep in mind that does come with a significantly longer commute. Now, the commute is becoming less of an issue for a lot of families, but employment-wise, El Dorado Hills has been attracting more businesses, has been attracting more employers, but you've got professional offices, healthcare facilities, and different retail businesses right in El Dorado Hills. But keep in mind, Folsom is just down the road with major employers like Intel and Micron Technologies. Now, the cool thing is you still also have the town center here up in El Dorado Hills, which is going to be a major shopping and dining destination. So you've got just about every store that you can think of, grocery stores, Target, Costco, all ranging from casual to upscale dining, movie theaters, and more. So you don't really have to leave El Dorado Hills unless your job requires you to. Now, I do want to be honest about the considerations with El Dorado Hills, and this is one of the pricier areas on our list today. So you are going to be paying a little bit more for a home in El Dorado Hills than you would, let's say, over in Lincoln, but even parts of Roseville and Rocklin. So the thing here is you're definitely getting what you pay for here. You're getting that foothill lifestyle, you're getting those beautiful views of Folsom Lake, that natural beauty, top-rated schools, and a community that's really special. Now, the other consideration is because you are in El Dorado County rather than being in Sacramento or Placer County, your property taxes may be structured a little bit differently here. So definitely want to make sure that you understand the full cost of home ownership, including any other HOAs, fees for master plan communities like Serrano, because this is definitely one of those things that you don't want to be surprised about in 2026. All right, we've got one more suburb to cover, and this one is a bonus one. This is suburb number 8, and that's gonna be Rancho Cordova. Now, I saved this one for this spot because I think it's one that represents some of the most interesting opportunities that we've seen in the entire Sacramento region right now, and it's one that a lot of people overlook or underestimate. So Rancho Cordova sits just east of Sacramento, right along Highway 50, in between parts of Sacramento and Folsom, and it's been quietly transforming itself from an industrial kind of area into a vibrant, livable community, especially towards the south side where a lot of the new construction is. And there's a ton of potential here. So the city has been incredibly proactive about attracting development, improving infrastructure, and creating different kind of amenities and lifestyles that families look for. So one of the exciting things about Rancho Cordova first is going to be the location. It's incredible from a convenience standpoint. You're right along Highway 50, which gives you easy access into downtown Sacramento. It also gives you pretty easy access to Folsom or El Dorado Hills, or heck, even making it up to Placerville or the foothills to go up to South Lake Tahoe. So if you work in different parts of Sacramento region, your job may require you to travel around a lot, Rancho Cordova's central location can be a huge asset when you're looking at this city. Now, the thing I love about Rancho Cordova is towards the south side of Rancho Cordova, south of Douglas Boulevard, is going to be where you're seeing some of the biggest growth, some of the best school districts in the entire area. So this particular section of Rancho Cordova is going to have builders like Woodside Homes, Richmond American, Pulte. You're going to have TriPoint out here. You're going to have a lot of different builders that are offering some of the best incentives in the entire Sacramento region. The cool thing is you're also saving, or your dollar is going a little bit further than in neighboring suburbs like Folsom or El Dorado Hills. So you get a little bit more house for your buck. You get a little bit more yard and land size for your dollar. And this particular area is actually going to be part of Elk Grove Unified School District. So you're going to have some of the top rated schools in Elk Grove Unified. So this particular area is going to be assigned to Pleasant Grove High School, Albiani Middle School, and it just has a brand new elementary school that's going to be completed and opened up in August of 2026. Now, one of the things that has really improved in Rancho Cordova over the past few years is going to be the retail and dining scene. So you've got Costco over on Folsom Boulevard, which is a major draw, and then the surrounding areas has seen a ton of new development. So especially off of that corner of Douglas and Sunrise Boulevard, you're going to have grocery stores, restaurants, shopping centers, and all the city services that you need. And if there's something in Rancho Cordova that you don't have, Folsom is only going to be about a 10 or 15 minute drive down the road. So the city has been working on developing the area around Rancho Cordova City Hall and the historic downtown area, bringing in tons of new businesses and creating more of a kind of a community gathering space. Now, let's be honest about some of the considerations with Rancho Cordova. Part of the city is still very industrial and very commercial, and not all areas are equally desirable. So if some of the residential living, you might be in selective neighborhoods or choosing certain parts depending on the school district. Anatolia and some of the communities on the south side of Rancho Cordova tend to be a little bit more desirable than some of the other pockets throughout the city. Now, the summers in Rancho Cordova can be hot and you're in the valley without a ton of elevation benefits of somewhere like El Dorado Hills, but you've got air conditioning, you've got pools out here, you've got the river that's just north in Rancho Cordova, between Rancho Cordova and Fair Oaks, for cooling off. So it's definitely part of the living here and some of the things that you should be considering. Now, here's the thing. Every single one of these suburbs has something special to offer, and the right choice for you depends entirely on your specific situation, your lifestyle, your budget, your commuting needs, and what you value most in a community. And that's exactly why you need to talk to somebody who knows these areas inside and out and can help you navigate this decision. Listen, we've been doing this long enough to know that the people who are most successful in their relocation are the ones who don't try to do it all themselves. They reach out to the experts who live and breathe this market every single day, who have relationships with the builders and the sellers, who know about inventory before it hits the market and can help you avoid the costly mistakes that many people make when moving to the Sacramento region. And that's exactly what we do. We're not just real estate agents, we're people who genuinely love this area, who have lived here our entire lives and want to help you find the perfect spot. So we take the time to really understand what you're looking for, what your must-haves are, what your deal breakers are, and then we use our expertise and our resources to find you guys that perfect home in that perfect area that fits your needs. So here's what I want you to do. If you're seriously thinking about making the move to Sacramento in 2026, as always, that phone number is going to be popping up. We are the ones that answer every phone call, email, and text message, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out to us. So give us a phone call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. Or if you want to, you can go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen and directly book a one-on-one strategy session where we can go over your goals, we can go over your time frame, your moves, your needs, your wants, and your must-haves, and figure out the best strategy for helping you make the move to Sacramento in 2026. If not, go ahead, feel free to watch some more videos right there, and we'll see you on the next one.